Hello, my beautiful people. Welcome to the weekly general overview for the week ahead. I am Raphael from Radiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. I know you all know that off by heart by now, and I absolutely love that you do. So welcome to the channel. If it's your first time, thank you for being here. If you are a continued subby, you know you got my love. With that said, if you would like to book a personal tarot reading with me, you can do so on the website address below. And before we start, as always, I would like to bless all of my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance, and I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise, and they help you, or should I say us, all on our paths to our highest vibrational good. So let's have a look at what the weekly overview is saying for all of us, no matter what your sign, no matter where you live, no matter what time zone you are in. So the Destiny card for the week, the overarching or overriding theme or energy, and this week is justice, right? So justice is a very loaded word, as one of my favorite wordsmith witches always says, and it really is true, right? So when you think of justice, what do you think about? You think of doing the right thing, but you also think of retribution, dealing out punishment as and when it needs to be dealt. So when you see the justice card, you are reminded that all things of a legal nature will start to ramp up. The other thing about the justice card is because it's ruled by Libra, it actually represents choice, choosing between this and that, choosing to put your name or align with something, to put your name to something. And when you have these kind of things come up, especially with the justice card, it sees you really reaching for what is the fairest outcome for all involved. Now, as this is the Destiny card, this will be the week where a lot of things start to wrap up. This will be where a lot of people are making their final decisions. Interestingly enough, as this card rules Libra is ruled by Venus, and we've got something going on with Venus today as well. So when you think about it, it kind of, sometimes the tarot and the astrology really do mirror each other. It's very interesting how it happens and how the cards come up and what their messages happen to be. So this week ahead, the destiny for all of us is to make your final decision, right? You've heard a lot of astrologers talking about getting on the train, getting on the boat, getting on the bus before it leaves for the next stage, right? We've got the big boys going retrograde at the moment in the sign of Capricorn, which is a big boy sign if you want to put it in that sort of terminology. But that sort of said, when you get the justice card, this is about making your final decision. This is the week where all of us in some way, shape or form say, right, you know what? I'm making a choice. I'm going in this specific direction and I'm going to stick with it. There's not going to be any more toing and froing after this week. So really this whole week, Monday right through the Sunday, utilize your power of choice, utilize your ability to choose for yourself, for the things, the experiences, the people, the relationships, all of it, for everything that you want in your life. You have a choice whether it is there or whether it is not, whether you let it in, whether you don't let it in. And this week, the message with the Destiny card as the Justice card, make your choice. And ultimately, if you come from a place of fairness, if you come from a place of equality, you will always be heading in the right way. And I just had every so often, I can't go into this because I haven't got the time for it, but every so often there's something that tinks in the apartment, and it just happened as I said that. So the spirit of equality and fairness is going to be really, really important. Keep your integrity intact this week. And you know, when you're talking about the Justice card, choose wisely, be discerning. What is going to be good for you? What is going to be, you know, what is going to uphold your highest values? And ultimately, what are your highest values? This is the time now where you have to start to choose, right? Uranus in Taurus. We had the new moon in Taurus as well. This is the week where you start to make your decisions, right? This is the week where you start to utilize your ability to choose what and who you have in your lifescape. So what is the direction? How do we achieve this? Clarity, choice and decision is achieved through decisive action. You've got the Ace of Swords, right? So the Ace of Swords is about making choices. But again, it sees you choosing between this and that, right? A sword can be used to defend or it can be used to attack, right? So when you think about this, you've got the duality here in the Justice card of you choosing between this and that, what you're going to have in your life, what you're going to phase out of your life. You've got the Ace of Swords as the direction card. How do you best get there? Write it down. Sometimes when you can see things written down in front of you, you're better able to deliberate them. You know, there's been times where I've actually done this for myself. I've written things down and thought, right, okay, and then I read it back and I'm like, oh shit, why would I go for that option? That's ridiculous. You know, sometimes seeing it back, sometimes looking at it in a different format or taking in the same information in a different format tends to see us utilizing our power of choice in a way that is more clearly defined. Ace of Swords, clarity, definition, choosing, decisive action, right? Thoughts that are of a decisive nature. Now, because this can represent the world at large, this reading that's taking place can be, you know, for the world at large. What are we looking at here? We're looking at legal things. We're looking at legal decisions that are taking place. We're looking at information, the freedom of information. We've already seen big stuff happen with this last week. I mean, hours after I put the weekly general up, I was gobsmacked. But we're going to see more of this. We're going to see a lot more people standing up and speaking up. There's going to be a lot of petitions to sign this week. There's going to be a lot of people campaigning for signatures. A lot of people wanting direct and exact answers this week. This is going to be a week where the public effectively demand answers that actually make sense. People are going to start demanding more of their governments, more of their local authorities, more of their, you know, of the things that they tie themselves to, that they align themselves to. There's going to be a lot more power in the small man this week as well. I feel like the people are going to lead a lot of the discussions, and it's going to be by sheer force of numbers. There's going to be a lot of people coming forward to say, look, this is what we're unhappy about. This is what needs to change. And if we need to, we will sign petitions for it. We will get the paperwork. We will get the signatures. We will get people to back us up. It's going to be a big week for that. I kind of feel like there's going to be a lot of decisions that are made this week that some will be met with uproar and some will be met with open arms, but I can guarantee you the voice of the people will be heard this week. So let's have a look at the insight for the week. What is the not overarching message, but it's more like the insight is, what are the tidbits? What is the extra information that we might want or need to know? And this week we get the Nine of Swords, right? So there are going to be worries about things this week. There are going to be, I feel like people are going to, you know, where usually we kind of just sit back and we're like, okay, well, we'll just deal with it and go on with it. I feel like this week a lot of people are going to complain about things, right? The insight in the Nine of Swords says that whatever we're worried about, whatever we're stressed about, this is the week to speak up about it. It's not a week where we suffer in silence. So look at this, right? Really interesting stuff going on. So Lady Justice is an air sign. You see her holding her sword there. Then we've got the Ace of Swords, and then we've got the Nine of Swords. So a lot of what takes place over the course of this coming week is going to be all about your mind. It's going to be all about decisions. It's going to be all about choosing. There's something going on here with lengths of work or contracts. So you know, like before, I think in Britain, I think 2 years ago, we had this massive outcry about no more 0-hour contracts because it was ended up being really unfair on workers. I feel like we're going to have something similar of that this week, and it feels like it's going to be about the amount of hours that people are expected to work in their, you know, normal jobs, Monday to Friday, 9 to 5 and all the rest of it. I feel like that's going to come into question, or it's going to be something about the work-life balance is going to be called into question, and employers themselves are probably going to feel this most. So if you are an employer, expect to hear something of that ilk going on. On a personal level, right, on a microcosmic level for each one of us individually, the Nine of Swords as the insight is basically saying to you, what are your fears? What are your anxieties? What are the things that are keeping you up at night? What are the things that are stressing you out? This is a week where you sort through that stuff. It's not a week for you to brush it under the carpet. You won't be able to. Your mind will not allow you to. This is the week where everything is going to bubble to the surface, and when it does, you have to make finite and movement-based decisions or action-based decisions through clarity and through clarity and conciseness, And by making those decisions, you move off in a better direction. When you're scattered, when you're holding on to stuff and not moving out of fear, you tend to get nowhere. Once you make a decision, everything, the world, the universe, people, the vibration tends to move with you, because it says, all right, well, you've made a decision. You're going down this path. I will give you what you need in terms of the blessings and the abundance, but also the challenges so that you can grow through it, right? This is one of the things when people say like, oh, I'm manifesting this, they kind of expect it just to be this, oh, you know, I've manifested it and that's it. All the doors should align and all the lights should turn green. And it doesn't work that way. The universe will give you the challenges that you need so that you grow through the process. You can have everything that you ask for, just like Saturn, right? Saturn in astrology will say to you, I'll give you everything that you ask for, but you will have to work for it. I want to see your sweat, your blood, your tears. I want to see your consistency and your effort. But the difference between Saturn and Jupiter will say, yeah, you know, I'll give you opportunity after opportunity. And because it comes so easily, we're human beings. We tend to squander them or waste them. However, Saturn says, I will dangle this carrot right in front of you until the very last moment when I know that you've done the work. Once you've done the work, there you go, I will give you the carrot. So this is kind of the energy that's taking place this week. So you will still be able to manifest things. You'll be able to make clear and concise decisions, but you are going to have to address your fears, your anxieties, everything that you have ever swept under the rug or under the carpet, or any of that stuff, or, you know, I call it my spiky little ball. It's like a spiky little ball at the base of my consciousness that I only ever bring out in times of severe need. Right? So yeah, I tend to put stuff there, but every so often, as I believe, anybody on this kind of path doing this kind of work should do, I go into my psyche closet, so to speak, and I will clear it out and I will ask myself the big questions. What are you holding here? What are you hiding here? Is it something you're afraid of? Is it something that makes you angry? Where is this coming from? And what emotions could it subconsciously be driving in you? There's going to be a lot of that stuff coming up for us all this week. So be careful, be kind, be vigilant, be clear, be concise, not divisive, be clear, be clear, be concise, and be decisive, right? That's your 3 things for you to be this week. I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Have a fantastic week. Let me know in the comments how it shapes up for you and I will do the same. It's a very long one this week because I feel like this is going to be a very interesting and possibly even intense week. My overall and arcing advice: this is a week that will largely be lived on the internal inner planes, the plane of the mind, the plane of the heart, the plane of the soul, and the plane of the body. Listen to them. Do not force it. Do not push it. Take your time. Love.